last but not least, hello again. We are group 5, Greta, Nora, Chupei, Maria, and myself. And so to begin with the first question, we will be building on the, well, quite great answers of the previous groups. There's not much left to say here. And for the second part, we will be focusing on the customer journey in the physical retail sector, which are the Lego stores. So to begin with the business strategy of Lego since 2003, obviously, as already said, 2003 is a meaningful year, as that is when Mr. Knutstorp had to review the problems that Lego was facing. And there are quite a few of them. There was no leadership, there was no cohesive company strategy, there was a lack of innovation, there were financial problems. So Lego had quite a few problems. And Mr. Knutstorp came and had to devise an action plan. So at the beginning, it was an action plan to tackle these problems. And he has done so successfully, which we will see later on. And that has grown into quite a successful strategy. So what has he done? He had to turn back to basics, so focus on the brick and the system quite literally. To focus on the toy bricks. As we all know, Lego is a world-known toy brick manufacturer. Their original vision, which I think is quite a nice one actually, is to nurture the child within us. So what they are doing and what they have been doing, they have been manufacturing toy bricks, which we have all encountered, whether as children or as adults, and played with them and bought them for our own children. And they had to return and focus on that core business, on the bricks and on the unique building systems for those bricks. And they had to focus on the quality. So they said that they want to be masters of the molding of the Lego bricks, and they have achieved it. So they focus on the quality and they focus on the core business, on the core products. They had also focused on their customers. They had to clearly define the customers. As said, those were the retailers, so the sellers, and the end users. The end users were no longer only the children, but also the adults who were using Lego and buying Lego bricks. They have involved those customers, so those end users, into the product development, and they got their feedback to evolve their products more and to get further inspiration and ideas of what was required and wanted and needed on the market. They focused on better segmentation. So they had focused on Lego, on Duplo, on Lego Friends, on various successful brands for various targets groups. They had to avoid the lure of adjacencies. And what does that mean? That means that they could not afford as much diversification as they used to. So before 2003, and before the action plan, they had 3 to 5 adjacencies per year, while it was supposed to be one every 3 to 5 years. So they should not focus so much money to diversify. They had to focus on the core products. And of course, with that, they had also focused on premium pricing and to have clear financial targets. So they had to reduce their costs and they wanted to focus on high returns on their sales. And as for the consequences of the IP strategy and the original action plan that Mr. Knutstorp has used and has applied, they had to focus on strategy. We think that this was the value-added monopoly IP strategy, as they protected the user relevant features. They protected their core business, they protected the Lego bricks and the figurines and the things that were recognizable and important. They were, as already also said, licensing a lot, licensing in and licensing out. So there were a lot of successful collaborations with Star Wars, with Batman, Indiana Jones, Harry Potter, and also licensing out. This was, as Stefan said, the collaboration with Adidas, as well as the collaboration with Plast team, which is a Danish company where they focused on creating lunch boxes and drink bottles for children, which was also very successful cooperation in Denmark. And again, lastly, they had to focus on the core product, where the challenge is protecting against copycats. So obviously protecting the IP protected figurines, the building blocks, the building instructions. They have trademark protection, design protection, which will all be mentioned later on in the later parts of this presentation. So in general, we can say that they have achieved their goals, their profits have increased, their strategy has worked out, and they have achieved quite a lot of success later on. And now I'm giving the floor to Greta and Shupei for the next part of this presentation.
Good morning, everybody. So now everybody knows that customer journey is the decision-making process when someone goes through to buy something. And this process is unique to each consumer. And we have, in what aspect, that we have many unique factors and different buyers types. And the main point here is that they need to make a decision to buy our product or service. And here in the customer journey, each stage represents where someone is in the decision-making process. So every step leads us where our customer is with his decision. And in awareness stage, so this is the first point of contact with our target audience. And here we we make introduction with our brand, and we represent how unique we are. This first impression is very critical because it creates a link between customer problem and our solution. And the goal of this touch point is to build more interest on our brand. Second touch point is consideration, and here we promote our brand and we keep in touch with our potential customer, and we keep engagement with our customer. And here we need to promote the interest to buy our product or service. And in the action touch point or in action stage, already the customer becomes a buyer. He made the decision to buy our product. And in service delivery touch point, here we need to focus how we create satisfaction for our buyer with our services. And the next touch point is advocacy and loyalty. And here the main thing is that customer buys again and again. So we have our loyal customer here. And we identified these highlights how LEGO positions the brand benefit and brand tonality for customer benefit to ensure the competitive advantage of their retail stores strategy. So we focus on that we are innovative, we create a unique digital and physical experience. We seek more personalized and interactive offerings, and we connect with brand. We make connection with brand to discover new products to our customer. And now Shupei will touch each touch point with real examples how LEGO is doing it.
Okay, so on physical stores, so both Legoland and physical stores, they are physical areas where people can visit. And I would say the difference between, for example, a trip to Legoland versus a trip to the retail store is that when you go to a retail store, this encounter might be accidental, unplanned, and that there is a lot of competition from other stores and distractions. So for example, so we have an example here on the largest Lego store in the world, which is located in London in Leicester Square. And when we talk about awareness and the choice of city where Lego chooses to build its first store, we observe that this cannot be an accidental choice, because when we are talking about just let's select the city with the most number of visitors, then the question would be, why not Bangkok? Why not Hong Kong, which has more tourists per year? Why London? And this is where we see, okay, London is obviously selected because it's it's a very, very highly visited city, but also when we think about the values that a city is trying to communicate, then we would probably come to the conclusion that Lego has made a deliberate choice of city to have its largest store. And of course, there are other big stores coming up, such as Fifth Avenue in New York, etc. But so we prepared a video, a very, very short video, which we'd like to play so that we can just bring you through the journey with us. Okay, so basically, the purpose of this video is because, not all of us get to live in London, and we live where there are small retail stores, but like a large retail store like this biggest one is where we can get a feeling of what Lego is trying to achieve. So Lego also works through franchisees and other customers like brick stores, where even if you look on the internet, they have the IP website like Brick Store or Brick Shop, and this is back to the core legacy of going back to the brick. Okay, next slide. So when we talk about physical stores, we have competition from the outside, and people need to have a strong brand association in order to recognize the store. So when they recognize that there's a strong brand, there's a child-friendly design that they recognize. They recognize first the yellow interior and the exterior, and it's about building a relationship with the customer by greeting them, by welcoming them, and obviously other things like organization such as signage, packaging, and displays. And for example, here, this photo was taken in a very, very small store for example, in Vienna. And right when at the entrance, you're greeted by store personnel, and very, very clearly, they have the bricks right in front of you, already assembled and showing you all the different kind of options, brands, and types of Lego and types of products that you can access in this journey. Okay, next slide. Okay, and also one of the ways physical stores communicate with their customers is by putting their products in beautiful aesthetic ways, which put things up for consideration, all within this constrained amount of time when they are within the physical store. So for example, if you look at the pictures, do you need just the villain, or maybe you also want the hero, or do you need just the tower, or do you need the entire set? Or for example, at the bottom right, do I need just one fish with the kids, or do I need to build the entire aquarium? Or maybe I need a Chewbacca in my living room. So this is how they present their collections to build this speed consideration journey for the customer. Next slide. And again, we talk about brand leverage and partnerships with other brands. And putting brand cooperation and brand leadership and riding on the values of other brands is how they present it also in a way that customers can find an association very quickly with something that represents them as well. Next slide. Okay, I'll pass the mic over to Greta, who will talk more about the user journey.
Okay, so what we have just for this consideration touch point, so we discover a lot of parts here, what Lego provides in their retail stores. So play areas, which models and play tables that customers, parents, especially with children, can come into the store and play. So a great interaction with Lego. You don't need to buy, you can just come to our store and to play, to have to spend a nice time. And then this is also probability that you will go out with the box in your hands. Also staff playing in empty play areas when there is no customers at the shop. The Lego strategy is that the staff needs to go to these play areas and to play. This is inviting children to come and to play and to join. Also, we find a lot of tablets, screens, and with a lot of artificial things, but it creates a nice experience being in this store. And as Shupei mentioned, niche-oriented partnerships, so collections with other partners. Also in New York, it's in the retail shop, there's a tree of discovery. It's an interactive model that shows Lego history. So you come here and you see how everything develops. You see yourself in this path and everything, and the Lego expression. So this is also a possibility to create a Lego minifigure with your to see how to see the Lego minifigure, which copies your movements and everything. So this is what create the interest for the customer to explore products and to buy them. And also action already where the customers have made the decision to buy. So also Lego provides some interesting features for customers to make this action more pleasurable. So you can, this is Brick Lab, you walk inside and just creates a virtual world that plays right with you. Mosaic Maker, when it captures your image and creates your own personal portrait. And Lego Ideas, also there is a program within Lego that allows users to submit their ideas for Lego products, and if the Lego see that is really commercial availability, so the designer receive 1% of royalties. So also this is involvement of the customers and the users to go within Lego. And the service and delivery touch points. So this is interesting also point that this is checkout path are the height of children, just a long path, maybe 20 meters or even more, and the children go, but the parents need to pay for the product. So children, they always have everything what to see and what to do in this path, and also it creates that maybe they will take something in their hands and will go to the cash desk. And also Lego minifigure factory that allows you to design and create your unique Lego minifigure. And Lego Wave is also a program which allows, when you are standing in a queue next to a cash desk, so you can interact with Lego figure. For example, here is in Lady Liberty minifigure in a screen. You can wave and she is interact with you. And Lego also application for the Lego building instructions. It is very, how to say, important. Everybody of us knows how this Lego building instruction books and everything. Children, we always lost them and everything. It is difficult to find. So Lego created a building instruction app where you can find every instruction of their product, how to build it.
Okay, so to the next part of the journey where we're talking about advocacy and loyalty. I think an important thing to note is that loyalty, there's many different grades and shades of loyalty. There are types of loyal customers which go with you for promotion, or if they get freebies at the store. But when we talk about advocacy, we are really focusing on the customer. Next slide, Nora. And this is how Lego does do this. The moment you walk into a store, you can see how they've arranged. It's not just about the product, but about what it represents and how it speaks to the person. So for example, on the left, you can see Mach das worauf du Lust hast, and it means do whatever you want, whatever the hell you want, or if it represents the needs of certain groups, universal rights. And there on the right hand side, we can see a presentation of, for example, Jane Goodall, who is a conservationist, and I think what's important and ironic is how, despite Lego being a heavy plastic contributor, we suddenly have conservation coming into the mix. But when you're going into the store, you don't really think about, other issues and how they are able to make the customer journey so that the customer feels important and feels good while going into the store. Okay, next slide. And so, yeah, just to just build on this point, true advocacy is when the customer starts to root for you and advocate for you and always comes back. And one way of doing this is through capturing through VIP and loyalty programs. But it's at the core of it, it's an alignment of the beliefs and values, which Lego projects in its stores. Over to Greta.
And also, so a lot of programs how to keep your buyer curious and engaged with your products and everything. So Lego Life app for kids, so they can upload and share photos, Lego Magazine, Lego Ambassador Network, Lego YouTube channel, and also program of weekly building challenge where every week you need to build some product to send to send a photo, and when you come to a Lego store and you show this photo to the specialist, and they award you with a free present. And storytelling tables for adults, so to have virtual meetings with set creators and product designers for early with prototypes and products. So this is a lot of programs, a lot of things to engage our buyers to buy and to continue the journey with Lego.
As a last step, we come to the 7P marketing mix as a general framework. You can see here to the 7P marketing mix, there belongs the type of product, price, place, promotion, people, process, and physical environment, as the other 4 groups told us. In the case of the Lego IP portfolio, and especially with a look to the retail stores, we just look for examples of the IP portfolio which are special for the stores, for the kind of place where the retail, for example, is the most important part. We found different kinds of patterns like shelving system, a hanging system, but there also is the international trademark, which is called Legoland. For the promotion, for the second P, there's the advertising, there's the special offers for the customers. And for example, we found we choose 2 of a lot of different patterns that are important for the promotion part of the Lego store, a display stand, and a real-built toy system. And there's also an own trademark, which is called the Lego Discovery Center. As a physical evidence, which is important to be smart and have something to do with the comfort feeling of the customer, especially. There we found, for example, 3 different applications, patent applications. The one describes a computer-implemented method for creating a system for embedding information on a decorative label, a tag reader system. And this is very important, for example, also for the employees. And there's further a new generation of the building instructions for the construction element models. To go on with the 4th P, we choose the people. In the Lego stores, you find, as Chopin and Greta describe a test track. There's also some kind of electronic ordering system. both types, for example, also apply for a patent. The product itself at the legal store is saved by new designs, also by IP in form of trademarks and patents. There's a toy building element, for example, is a European patent application, or a toy construction system, as you see with the PCT application. The 6P is a process which belongs to how our services can be consumed. There we found, for example, 2 applications from LEGO, from its portfolio, which belongs to a virtual card game system, and also a toy construction set and a method of assembling such a set. So last but not least, the last P is a prize. There's no special IP patent or a special trademark, but the whole patent, the whole IP portfolio of LEGO is needed to get this premium price strategy, as we have learned before. Thank you for listening.